The gray sky hung low over the city as a black car stopped in front of the orphanage gates. From it stepped a tall man in an expensive suit, Andrew Lavrov, a well-known businessman and owner of a construction empire. He was used to negotiations, contracts, and numbers, not to children's laughter or the smell of fresh paint that filled the air here. Today he had come at the insistence of his PR manager to show the public the human face of his company. He planned to spend no more than half an hour, shake hands, smile, make a donation, and leave. But life sometimes changes its script in a single instant. When he entered the assembly hall, the children were already lined up, ready for their performance. Little hands held flowers and paper flags, some whispered the words of their poems. The teacher happily introduced Andrew, and all eyes turned toward him. He nodded, keeping a polite, practiced smile. It all seemed staged, empty, until among the children he noticed a girl in a light blue dress. She stood slightly apart, clutching an old doll missing one arm. Her eyes didn't shine like the others, they were deep, warm, and far too mature for her age. The girl turned her head, and Andrew froze. Just below her right eye was a small birthmark, exactly like his own. He instinctively touched his cheek. His heart trembled. Memories flooded back, a hot summer, the smell of the sea, the laughter of a brown-haired woman, Marina. The woman he once loved but had lost when he chose his career over his feelings. Back then, he thought he'd done the right thing. Now, he wasn't so sure. After the performance, the teacher brought the girl to him. "This is Mary," she said. "Very quiet and kind. Her mother passed away a few years ago. Her father is unknown." Andrew felt the ground vanish beneath his feet. Mary. Marina also used to call everything tenderly, Mashenka, little one. Coincidence, or not? He bent down to look at her more closely. The same lips. The same eyes. "Hello, Mary," he said softly. "How are you?" She shrugged. "I'm fine. Only my doll is broken." Her arm came off. "But I still love her." He smiled. "Maybe I can help fix her?" She shook her head seriously. "Mom said that even broken things are still ours." Those words pierced Andrew to the core. He suddenly knew he couldn't just leave. Something inside him screamed, "Stay. Find out the truth." When he was about to leave, Mary approached timidly. "Mister," she said quietly, "you have the same birthmark as me. Maybe you were a child once too." "Yes," he smiled awkwardly. "A long time ago. And Mommy said my dad is kind and looks like me. Only he doesn't know I exist." She hugged her doll tightly. "Maybe he'll find me someday." Andrew couldn't answer. Pain gripped his chest like a knife. He turned away quickly to hide his tears. "I'm sure he'll find you," he said hoarsely. "Someone like you is impossible to miss." He sat in his car but couldn't start the engine. He just gripped the steering wheel, seeing the girl's face with the birthmark and hearing Marina's voice, the voice he hadn't heard in years. "If fate separates us," she once said, "then it's meant to be. But maybe someday it will bring us together again." He hadn't taken those words seriously then. Now they sounded prophetic. That night, he couldn't sleep. He opened old photographs, he and Marina laughing, holding hands. In one of them, she was already pregnant. He realized that now. And then everything had ended. He went abroad, chasing career and success. He never called, never wrote. And now, nearly 9 years later, there stood a girl with a birthmark just like his. He remembered what the teacher had said, her father is unknown. How old was Mary? 8? 9? Everything fit. He knew he had to find out the truth, whatever it was, but deep down, he already knew it. The next morning, Andrew returned to the orphanage, though no one expected him. Children were playing in the yard again. Mary sat on the steps, carefully sewing her doll's arm back on. When she saw him, her face lit up. "Uncle Andrew, you came back." He walked over and sat beside her, his heart pounding in his throat. Mary, he said quietly, I want to tell you something about your mom. You knew her? Yes, he nodded. A long time ago. She was special. She told me the same about you, Mary said. But I didn't know who she meant. He took a deep breath. The words wouldn't come. Instead, he took her small hand and pressed it to his cheek. See? We have the same birthmark. The girl looked closely at him, then whispered, Daddy, it's you. Andrew froze, unable to speak. Then he hugged her tightly. Yes, Mary. I'm your father. And I'll never let you be alone again. She laid her head on his shoulder and whispered, Mom said you were kind. I knew you'd come. And in that moment, Andrew realized that for the first time in years, his heart wasn't empty anymore. A new life. Months passed since Andrew had told Mary the truth, that he was her father. Life in the mansion changed completely. Once cold and lifeless, it now overflowed with laughter, footsteps, and joy. Mary explored every corner of the garden, played with the dog, picked flowers, and proudly showed her treasures to her father. Andrew changed too. He stopped living only for work and endless meetings. His new priority was his daughter. He was learning, patiently and lovingly, how to be a real father. Every morning, he took Mary to school. Sometimes he helped her with homework, and in the evenings they read books, drew pictures, or simply talked about their day. One evening, as he watched Mary arranging her dolls on the shelf, a strange warmth filled his chest. She turned to him with a wide smile. Daddy, I'm so happy you're with me. I always knew you were kind. Andrew hugged her close and, for the first time in many years, felt that his life had meaning. He understood that every day spent with her was a gift no amount of money could buy. At night, he often peeked into her room to watch her sleeping face and whispered, I'm sorry I wasn't there before. But I'm here now, always. The house filled with warmth and light. Mary's drawings covered the walls, her toys and crafts filled the shelves. Each object told the story of her small but vibrant life. Sometimes Andrew sat with her and told stories about Marina, about how much he had loved her and how fate had brought them together again through Mary. Mary listened intently, asking questions he always answered honestly. They couldn't bring back the past, but now they had the present, and that was enough. Each morning began with laughter and ended with quiet talks on the pillows. Andrew knew his heart had finally found a home. He had learned that true wealth wasn't money, it was love, trust, and closeness with those who matter most. With every day, their bond grew stronger. Mary knew she had a father who would always be there. And Andrew had found the purpose he'd been missing all his life. Their home echoed with laughter and warmth again. And Andrew knew, everything that had happened wasn't coincidence, it was destiny. Destiny that had returned his daughter to him and given him a second chance to be a real father. Every morning he greeted with gratitude. And every night, he fell asleep holding the small hand that had forever changed his life.